अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नामश्रेष्ठं मनुमापि सच्चिपुत्रम् आत्रा स्वरूपम् रूपं तस्य ग्रजामुरुपुरीं माधुरीं गोष्ठावतीम् राधाकुन्दं गिरिवरं महो राधिकमधावसम् प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतित्थकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। निखिलाश्रुतिमौलिरात्नमालद्युति निराजिता पदपङ्कजन्ता आजीमुक्तकुलैरुपश्यामनं परितस्त्वं हरिणां संश्रयामि। अनार्पिताचरिं चिरात् करुणयावतीर्णा कलहो समार्पयितुमुन्नतोज्ज्वलरासं स्वभक्तिश्रियम् हरिपुरता सुन्दरा द्युति कदम्बसन्दीपितः सदा हृदये खन्दते स्फुरतो वासचिनन्दनः अजानुलम्बिता भुजो कनकावदातो संकीर्तनैकपितरो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजावरो जुगधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो लादिनी शक्ति स्वरूपाय गौराङ्गसुहृदाय च भक्त शक्ति प्रदानाय गदाधर नमोस्तुते। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। राधे वृंदावनाधीशे करुणामृतवाहिनी कृपया निजपादब्ज दास्यान्मह्यं प्रदीयतम्। भाग्यविहीनाय अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टाकमादितरङ्गमाध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्नम् वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। श्री सच्चिदानंद गौर हरि की जय। श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री नवद्वीप धाम परिक्रम की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद। Someone needs a glass of water. I have two here, so you can take one of them. So, pranam to all. Good morning. Today, I was thinking, since yesterday morning we have been sharing a little bit about Pandit Gadadhar Tattva, and the previous days we have been sharing about Gaur Tattva. And today we are visiting Nandanacharya Bhavan, which is the meeting place of Nityananda Prabhu with Sri Chaitanya Dev, first meeting in the earthly Leela here. And then we are visiting Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir ISKCON headquarters. And Prabhupada is someone so much connected and empowered by Nityananda Prabhu. We felt, okay, let's lay some foundation of further Nitai Tattva. We share some Gaur Tattva, Gadadhar Tattva. We spoke about Srivas Pandit the other day. We spoke about Advaita Charya. We spoke about Nityananda Jagai Madai Gat, but he deserves a separate morning sharing. So here we are trying to honor that properly. Preparing our hearts, preparing our minds, preparing all our faculties to the visit to Nandanacharya Bhavan, and then to the visit to Srila Prabhupada's place, which again, for us, according especially from the lips of Srila Siddhar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada was Shakti Abhis Avatar. Today everyone calls Prabhupada Shakti Abhis Avatar, but the person who first dared to say such a thing, because you don't call anyone Shakti Abhis Avatar like casually, you know. It's a big thing. So Srila Siddhar Maharaj was the first one saying he's Shakti Abhis Avatar, empowered agent. And once his disciple Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj asked Srila Siddhar Maharaj, so which type of Abhish? Because you are empowered by certain energy. Which type of, from which agency is coming that empowerment? So Srila Siddhar Maharaj saying Nityananda Abhish. Prabhupada, Nityananda Shakti Abhish. Yeah. So a few words about Nityananda Prabhu. And as we said the other day, we could speak about each one of the members of the Panchatattva as the most important. So today is the turn of Nityananda Prabhu as the most important member of the Panchatattva. We can be equally biased in all these 5 directions. As we say, Advaita Acharya could be seen as the most important. He was glancing at the world with universal compassion, and he cried out and called Mahaprabhu to come. Because of all that, he's the most important. Right? Mahaprabhu, God himself, exploring his own heart, giving us the example of how to be curious and introspective and all merciful and so deep and so high and so broad, so many more things, the most important. Another Pandit, I don't need even to say why he could be described as the most important. We tried our best last morning. We will continue to try our best. Srivas Pandit is representing Tatastha Shakti, the highest, most refined potential of us. So in that sense, is the most important. Someone showing all that we can be. It's quite relatable. Srivas Pandit, the most important member of the Panchatattva. But today we will, quote unquote, contradict all that and show Nityananda Prabhu that's important. But there's no contradiction. It's just paradoxical inclusion. And as you say, many of these personalities, at least in terms of Advaita, Gadadhar, Krishna, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, we can all call from different perspectives, in a more abstract, general way, God. So all of them are God. I want you to stay with that idea for a moment and see your unsettled faces. God, the 1, 2, 3. We are not polytheistic. No, we're not polytheistic. The one non-dual indivisible truth can be expressed in a multitude of forms. That's the infinite. Don't impose limits on the infinite. Don't throw our limited mind of boxing and labeling and dividing, throw that into the infinite and start to compartmentalize infinity. No, that's embarrassing. And it will never work. So don't try. Don't lose your energy. So again, today we want to concentrate on Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who in many ways can be seen as the most important member, again, of the Panchatattva. And one says the very embodiment. Each one of the members of the Panchatattva could be seen as the embodiment of causeless grace and unconditional love. But let's be honest, if there's someone who deserves that label the most, the wildest form of causeless grace and unconditional love, probably that's Nityananda Prabhu. We had a glimpse of that at Jagai Madai, God telling the story on how he delivered this person who we could say deserved it the least. No, as the famous saying goes, God, please help me when I deserve it the least, because that's when I will need it the most. That's the logic of grace, causeless mercy. It's not inspecting how deserving you are, no? But how much in need you are. But he doesn't deserve it. Therefore, the more we protest, why you're giving grace to him, he doesn't deserve it, the more the grace will say, that's why. That's the logic of grace. It's not about deserving. It's funny because sometimes we can pray to God, oh, give me grace, and then he gives grace to someone else indiscriminately. It's like, why are you giving grace to him? Why him? Why her? But the more we say that, the more the echo of the wind will come back and say, then why you? No? So we be careful, because we will end up as losers. So it's another way of operating, and I know it may take lifetimes to enter into that way of operating and see life and relate to everyone and to ourselves and to God and to everyone in terms of that non-calculative approach. But that's how Nityananda Prabhu sees everything and everyone. That's how we are being seen by the Sweet Absolute. So let's try to enter that space today a little bit. So who is Nityananda Prabhu? Of course, yesterday we spoke about Gadadhar Pandit before we spoke about Mahaprabhu being Krishna, Gadadhar Pandit being Sri Radha. Nityananda Prabhu is?
Balaram.
Louder.
Balaram.
With power, Balaram. So that's it. I wanted the echo. Echo was missing. So it's interesting because Balaram, Ram means pleasure and Bala means strength. So Balaram means he who derives pleasure in showing his strength. So of course, we are not talking here about a narcissistic guy who is increasing his biceps, how is that? And he's showing arms. I'm deriving so much pleasure in showing my strength. What's the strength we are talking about here? So that becomes even more clear in the form of Nityananda Prabhu. The strength of delivering anyone and everyone by the grace, unconditional, discriminate. That's the ultimate strength. Love, causeless grace. That's why Balaram, one name for Nityananda, for Balaram, when he comes as Nityananda, is Kriparam. So you have Balaram and Kriparam. And the Kripa clarifies what do we mean by Bala. Now, Balaram, he who derives pleasure by showing his strength. Which strength? Kriparam, he who derives pleasure by being Kriparam, by being merciful. Kripa means grace. So, again, as I say, that's our Gaudiya Vaishnava Trinity. Nitai, Gaur, Gadai. Sandini, Sambit, Ladini, Shakti. In Christianity, they have Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit. Father, we could say, is God, Krishna. Son can be Nityananda, Guru Tattva. And Holy Spirit, Bhakti Devi, Sri Radha. But in our tradition, we don't put Balaram and Krishna and Radha in the same altar, because Radha and Krishna are having their private stuff, and Balaram is the elder brother. So if the younger brother is with his girlfriend and the elder brother comes, it's spoiling the whole thing. So Balaram never stays in the same altar. He knows what's going on between Radha and Krishna. And Yashoda always asks Balaram, you are the elder brother, you have to report all the mischief of your younger brother Krishna. So Balaram does so when Krishna is eating dirt and doing some stuff. But he knows about Radha, his extramarital affair with Radha, but he's not saying anything. Because ultimately that's not bad behavior. That's another way of confirming there's nothing wrong with that. It seems parakiya, it seems extramarital, but it's the most loyal and chaste form of belonging to one another. So anyhow, why I was saying all that?
Balaram are in the same order.
Trinity.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So Gaudiya Trinity, we can put Balaram rather than Krishna the same altar for the reason I just explained. But another way in which Gaur Leela is more generous, Gadadhar, Balaram, Nityananda, Krishna, Mahaprabhu, Balaram, Gaur, Nitai, Gaur, Gadai. That's the trouble when you go from Krishna Leela and Gaur. Nitai, Gaur, Gadai, they are all together, the three of them. It's not like they cannot be together. So we can have them in the same altar, and then we have our Gaudiya Trinity there, right? So Nityananda is Balaram, Mahaprabhu is Krishna. We are in Kali Yuga. This is the age of Nityananda and Gauranga. With all respect to Krishna Balaram, of course, we love Krishna Balaram, but somehow Krishna Balaram appears in Kali Yuga as Nitai Gauranga. This is beautiful dream that Sachi Devi has. Maybe you know that story. Once Sachi Devi tells the dream she had to her son Mahaprabhu, and she said, "I had a dream where Krishna and Balaram were on the altar, and Mahaprabhu and Nityananda came and were told to Krishna Balaram themselves in that form, 'Hey, you cheaters, come down from that altar. It's our turn now.' Kali Yuga is not the age of the cowherds. Come down. It's the age of the Brahmins. We will go down." And they start, and Krishna Balaram said, "No, we are not going down." You better go down from the altar. Nityananda Prabhu said. Balaram said, "I won't go from. I'm Balaram. I'm Nityananda. I'm the same person." But so they start to wrestle. No, come down. No, and eventually Nitai Gauranga defeat Krishna Balaram, and they put down them from the altar, and they stand on the altar. So Sachi had that dream. Imagine having that dream one night, and we wake up the next day, and and your son happens to be one of the parts of the dream. No, Mahaprabhu is like, it's just like, what's Mahaprabhu's like, yeah, that was not only a dream, the dream coming true. So anyhow, Nityananda, Balaram, and Balaram also is. There are different ways to talk about this. I'm sorry to bring some complex terminology, but I need to justify the white word here. So I need to write these three words that I said before: Sandhini, Sambit, and Ladini. No? Somehow these three could be connected with Satchidananda. And there are three deities, so to say, or three aspects of the divine presiding over these three. So Sandhini has to do with existence, the existential, the department that allows everything to exist. Sandhini. Balaram presides over Sandhini. Sambit means consciousness or chit. So Krishna is presiding over this one. And Ladini means pleasure, joy, ecstasy, love. And Radha presides over it. So Balaram, Krishna, Radha, or Nitai, Gaur, Gadai. No? Still we are in the Trinity concept. So Nityananda or Balaram is presiding over Sandhini Shakti, which means that department that allows basically everything to exist. I won't go into the details of how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains the ontology of Nityananda Prabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, showing how he's the source basically of everything. So whatever exists, not in a point in time. Our philosophy is not that things start to exist at one point, but whatever exists still has a source, an existential ground. So we call that Sandhini Shakti, or more precisely Balaram, or even more precisely Nityananda Prabhu. So honoring that, my point with all this is, since Nityananda is related to Sandhini Shakti, or the principle of something, the existence principle, well, in one sense, Nityananda Prabhu is the birthplace of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Now, the Gaudiya, another way of talking about birthplaces. As you can see, all day, every day we are talking about some birthplace. So again, Balaram Nityananda presides over Sandhini Shakti, the existential potency. So everything appears out of Nitai, including the Gaudiya Sampradaya. As we said, he is the non-official founder of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Of course, Mahaprabhu came to relish Radha Bhav. As I like to say, we will call this a movement, but many times when we say movement, we think about the institution, right? Unfortunately. Movement becomes equal to institution, institution becomes equal with government bodies and laws and papers and bricks and walls and what, anyhow. But movement means movement, means something is moving. It's interesting how many times movement ends up being something that doesn't move at all. Something very fixed, stagnant, fixed rule, fixed movement. Nothing is moving there. So movement means movement, right? So how our movement started, again, Mahaprabhu is relishing Radha Bhav. That's quite moving. No? As we say, he's so moved, he's showering oceans of tears of gratitude and joy. So something's moving him internally so much that he cannot but start to move externally and dance in Sankirtan and celebrate. So an inner movement creates in him an external movement, and that external and internal movement, when witnessed by other people, moves them to join. Moves them internally, then moves them externally. So you have all the sequence of movements. And eventually something more official becomes a movement called Gaudiya Sampradaya, even without institution, because at that time there were no institutions. After Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we have that particular framing. But all of this is a sequence of movements, but it all begins and it should all be continued by an internal movement always. Even if there's an external one, some shape, some form, there has to be something moving inside, right? So Nityananda Prabhu is the non-official founder of the Sampradaya, because he began the Gaudiya Sampradaya, the spreading of the message, before the work of the 6 Goswamis, who somehow systematized Mahaprabhu's heart, somehow. Srila Sri Maharaj will say Mahaprabhu is a golden volcano of divine love, exploding in ecstasy. That's not something very systematized. That's like... So how to make sense of that, how to approach that, it can be too overwhelming. So the Goswamis took that and gradually put that in writing, systematizing and explaining the heart of Mahaprabhu. But before the Goswamis did all that work and officially were like the architects of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, Nityananda Prabhu couldn't wait for that. Nityananda Prabhu couldn't wait for the Goswamis to write Satsandarva Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He was too anxious in spreading that and sharing that in his generous disposition. So he went with his Dwadasa Gopals, 12 main associates of Balaram in Krishna Lila, accompanying him in Gaur Lila. Him and his 12, how do you say in English? Like something more informal. Buddies. Partners in crime. So they went door to door knocking, not waiting for anybody. They didn't have book distribution. There were no books. There was no Gaudiya Sampradaya books. It was just quote unquote, Nityananda Prabhu's heart, faith, and ecstasy, and his friends, and knocking on the door, and Nityananda singing, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gaurangira Namya, Tejana Gauranga, Bhaja Se Amar Prana. Worship Gauranga, speak about Gauranga, sing the names of Gauranga. Whomever speaks about Gauranga, that person becomes my life and soul. I sell myself to you. That was Nityananda Prabhu's Madhukari. Knocking the door, you open, imagine Nityananda is like this with his 2 arms extending Mahaprabhu's grace, and just say Gauranga, and I belong to you. I'm yours. So who couldn't resist, right? So that was the beginning of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Without buildings, without books, without even a name called Gaudiya Sampradaya, Mahaprabhu didn't start a religion. It's just something exploded, and here we are. So so Nityananda started all this. In one side, the writing of the Goswamis were supporting what Nityananda Prabhu was saying, what Nityananda Prabhu was feeling, what Nityananda and his associates originally spread with this generosity, as we say. No, Gadadhar Pandit is also like this, giving his heart as Radha to Mahaprabhu. But when Nityananda is like this, he's giving Mahaprabhu to the world. No, so it's a complementary mudra. Both are like this, but Gadadhar is facilitating Mahaprabhu, his own experience. Nityananda is facilitating Mahaprabhu's experience to to the rest. So we have full circle there. Nobody's missing in the equation. And again, Nityananda began the Sampradaya in a very non-institutional way, no? In a very spontaneous way. Just disseminating everything like in a contagious way, like an epidemic, spiritual epidemic. It was not like subscribe this, sign this. It was just knocking, crying, giving heart, embracing, singing, dancing, rolling, next house, rolling to the next house. The whole village intoxicated and mad. That was the beginning of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. In time, it took certain shape and form, but we shouldn't forget our roots, our beginnings, and we should be very concerned how we cannot imitate that, but how to keep the aliveness and the movement of how the whole thing started. If it started that way, it should somehow continue and develop in a similar spirit. Even if the form changes, the spirit should continue to be one of aliveness, basically. So we say pra-achar. No? Pra-achar means a very special type of internal experience becomes preaching. Again, preaching is not I tell you what to do and try to convert you by force. Well, I'm not even that convinced of what I'm telling you. Because sometimes that happens, right? You are supposed to say this and say that to others, but I'm not so convinced myself. So I'll try to convince you, so you convince. By convincing you, somehow I become more convinced myself. I was not Nityananda Prabhu's mode. He was very convinced. He was not trying to convince anyone. He was just overflowing in his own faith and conviction, and that became a natural exchange with other people. So again, that's the real movement. It all starts with an internal movement. That's how the Sampradaya began. That's how it should continue developing. So first there has to be achar, some practice, some way of living, because achar doesn't only mean finish your 16 rounds per day. Practice means how you live your whole daily life. That's your practice, your life, your day, everything, how you do everything. And on the basis of that, something can be shared. Sometimes I've seen devotees that make out of preaching the practice. Your main practice is to convert others. That's like, what? No. First, you have to start practicing. And before practicing, understand that practicing does not only mean this, but how you live your day, your life. That's your life is your practice. When you understand that, and when you do that relatively properly, naturally that will become contagious. As we say, when the lotus bloom, you don't need to call the bumblebees. Today we were coming here and there was a lot of lotus blooming. Bumblebees will come naturally. So anyhow, Nityananda Prabhu started the Sampradaya in that way, and he was therefore a very crucial figure. No wonder that some of the main books of our Sampradaya that speak about Mahaprabhu and Gaur Lila all revolve around him. Chaitanya Bhagavat, one of the main biographies of Mahaprabhu, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, last disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. It's called Chaitanya Bhagavat, but in one sense it could be also called Nityananda Bhagavat because it revolves so much around Nityananda Prabhu. At one point he starts to speak about Nityananda Prabhu, and he originally promised, we'll talk about this, but when he starts to talk about Nityananda Prabhu, he can sidetrack, lost and found. And he never speaks about things he said he will speak. But that's a virtue, in the sense that he became so absorbed of that. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the same way, it came out of Nityananda's grace, because Krishna-das Kaviraj Goswami was living with his brother. His brother was unfavorable, not even to Nityananda, but to an associate of Nityananda, Minaketam Ramdas. He said, Krishna-das Kaviraj Goswami say, I like Mahaprabhu. Sorry, his brother say, I like Mahaprabhu, but I don't like the Nityananda Prabhu. Because Nityananda Prabhu is quite an eccentric figure. No? He's intoxicated in divine love. Nitya Ananda, perpetually blissful. So sometimes he may behave in ways that are difficult to figure out. So Krishna-das Kaviraj Goswami say, I like Mahaprabhu, I don't like Nityananda. Krishna-das Kaviraj Goswami say, I'm leaving the house right now. I cannot stay in a place like someone. Even if you accept Nityananda, you don't accept Mahaprabhu, don't accept Nityananda. You are not accepting any of them. And he invoked this Ardha Kukuti Nyaya, or the logic of half-helm logic. No? Like a person has hens, making a business out of hens, of eggs. So one the person thinks, oh, this hen so nice is giving me eggs through one hole, no, and gives me money, but through the other hole, I'm losing money because I have to feed the hen. So better I just keep the hole that gives me money, and I cut the head of the hen. But the moment you do that, you no longer have eggs, right? So that's the half hen logic. The moment you try to just select one of the two, you lose both. So you will say, if you want Nityananda Mahaprabhu, you only pick one, you lose both. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami left the house in favor of Nityananda. Then that night he had a dream of where Nityananda Prabhu appeared with his Dwadas Agopals dancing and singing and saying, go to Vrindavan. And there all your desires will be fulfilled. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes to Vrindavan, and there the devotees say, oh, Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat described the Leelas of Mahaprabhu in Navadvip in great detail, but he didn't describe in detail the Leelas of Mahaprabhu in Puri. Can you please do that in detail? So he received that service from the Brajavasas. But all that happened by Nityananda Sami. So that became Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we have both Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita by the grace of Nityananda Prabhu and the whole Gaudiya Sampradaya. So again, Nityananda Prabhu at that time, at his time, he didn't have Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, books of the Goswamis. He only, quote unquote, only has had his faith. Only. It's more than enough, right? And that's what he requested from us as well. Just bring your faith. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has this song about Nityananda Prabhu. Yeah. No, it's another one. When he speaks about the Namahata, I mean, there are many related, but this is another one. The song Dalalera Gita, the song of the broker, is it? Brokers. So he said Nityananda opened this marketplace. Namahata, we heard the word Namahata. Nityananda is the original Namahater. And he said he's telling the name, he's selling love of God just by a little bit of faith. That's what he's asking. Just have a little bit of faith in what I'm trying to give you. And he's crying tears. I'm begging you, please trust me a little bit. I'm selling myself to you. So that's the currency of the Namahatan, faith. So the idea with all this is he only had faith, and so much came from that. And we have to learn gradually to live our lives primarily on our faith, understanding that at one point, everything else will be taken away from us, except our faith. That's our currency into eternal life. That's it. But purchasing power, how do you say in English? In eternity, that's your faith. Now, when Krishna says, Jam Jam Ba Pishmaram Baramte, whatever state of consciousness you are at the end of your life, that's where you go. It's another way of saying, whatever faith you have, there you go. Once Srila Siddhar Maharaj said something very interesting, speaking about dreams, that Sachi had a very unique dream. Srila Siddhar Maharaj had a very unique dream as well. He said, once I was dreaming that all my scriptural knowledge was taken away from me. He had a lot of that. All the scriptural knowledge through which I could support my position, all that was taken away from me, and I was left naked only with my faith. And he was okay with that. Like he made that point. At one point, that will happen. You may even forget all the verses you memorize, all the information, the knowledge, the book reading, the book warming, whatever. At one point, all that is like with your faith. So that's an important point. Whatever we are doing in our life, with our life, how much that's nourishing our faith. The ultimate currency, the only currency in eternity. So again, we want to live in eternity. We need to be acquainted with the currency that operates there. Because if it's still here today, our main currency is depending on my physical power, intellectual power, or who knows what, knowledge and money and fame and this and calculating and trying to control. Gradually in time, all that, I mean, that's how the cycles work. The older we get, physical power, goodbye, knowledge and memory, Gaura Hari Bol. Yeah, it's a humbling cycle, but with a purpose. It's not like, oh, it's so sad that this is going on. The idea is to reduce all that so the real thing remains, the actual real thing. So the message is cultivate your faith. So that's how Nityananda Prabhu started the Sampradaya, with faith. That's what he's asking from us, faith. And he's making this emphasis. Try to understand this is the real currency. Purchasing power is in Shraddha. People are thinking about buying a plot of land in Mars. I recently heard some friend of mine that his father is investing thousands. And I mean, you better plan your investment and plotting in eternity through the currency of faith. Right? So, of course, and our faith is not just something like have faith without any particular reason. Again, Nityananda say have faith, but Nityananda himself is the embodiment of unconditional love and mercy. So it's easy to have faith when you contact the source of causeless grace, right? So let's concentrate for a few moments in that direction. How Nityananda Prabhu embodies what I like to call irreversible grace, right? Generally, we speak about irreversible damage. We are damaged many times and we think that's irreversible. But no, the only reversible thing is grace. Grace touched your life, there's no coming back from us if you open to it. Right? So what does it mean? What do you understand by irreversible grace, unconditional love, causeless mercy? Brainstorming, heartstorming. What does it mean to you? Unconditional love, being unconditionally loved. You are left without words. That's a good symptom. It goes beyond words. You were waiting for that, I know. Okay, now I've given you permission, Nanda Kumar.
Well, it's a person who affects you in such a way that you are out of your water to almost respond and reciprocate. And there was no really deservance.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such a word, but if from a mom you would expect it's general.
Mm.
But then if you meet a person and that person really does something, also disproportionately
Mm-hmm.
big, well-wishing to benefit you. Yeah, I would call that, and it just smashes your walls, protection wall system, and it breaks down and enters your heart, and you are like caught off guard, and you don't know what to do with it, and creates a havoc.
It sounds messy, but it's beautiful.
But
yeah. So that's what we call Kriparam. Again, Nityananda Prabhu being called Kriparam. That's someone who experienced pleasure in showing unconditional love to others. We may be put into havoc, but that person will be there to support us and accompany us in the havoc that unconditional love has created. Right? So Nityananda Prabhu in his sharing campaign, he embodied this to the limit, to the utmost limit, quote unquote. There's no limit, right? Indiscriminate, given without any deserving whatsoever, inclined to those who deserve it the least, seeing our disqualification as our qualification, What's that logic? Right? Your adhikar is your disqualification. Your adhikar is your lack of adhikar. What? Again, not as an excuse to decrease our adhikar, but that's in the eyes of Nitya. Now, he is so disqualified. Oh, let's go there. I'm attracted toward the disqualified direction. Sometimes someone asks also Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta, why you remain in Kolkata and do not go to other places? Because I feel especially drawn to places where people are the most fallen. There's something that draws me there. There's a necessity there, as we say. No? Help me when I need it the most, when I deserve it the least. That's what I need the most. Jagai Madai Lila basically is that. Like the archetype. Being born in high family with all the options to be virtuous and spoiling all that and becoming the worst you can possibly become. Not only being the worst without the high birth, because that's more justified. Oh, they were born in a criminal family, so in an Italian mafia, so they inherited the family business. No, they were born as Brahmin, pious Brahmin family, and they became the worst of the worst. You cannot get worse than that. Nityananda Prabhu is like, come here. Again, it's not Jagai Madai, that's speaking about each one of us. And not to feel bad about ourselves, just to understand this principle that love is always too much, grace is always too much. So it's not a deserving game. You can never earn or deserve grace. It's too much, grace is too much to be deserved. You need to throw that word out of the window. I use another vocabulary to speak about love and grace. You need to articulate reality in a totally different way. One name of Nityananda Prabhu is Ajata Satru. I mean, there are 108 names of Nityananda. We could do another 3-year retreat and go through each one of them. But one of those is Ajata Satru. Ajata means unborn, and Satru means enemy. So it means he whose enemy was not born. It's a poetic way of saying he has no enemies. No, he's not seeing enemies. He's not seeing with the dualistic mind that we tend to see and say, oh, he's my friend, he's my enemy. I like him, I don't like him. No? I'll hang around with them. I don't want to have anything. He's free from duality, from this divisiveness, this fragmented mind that puts people into boxes. And therefore, he's free from judgmentalism. Oh, he's good, better, bad, enemy, non-enemy. He's free from labeling. Nityananda Prabhu, free from labeling. And that's what allows him to accept us unconditionally for who we are. And that's what will allow us to do the same in relationship to others. And that's our work, my friends, brothers and sisters. Again, it's not so only I say, oh, so nice, Nityananda Prabhu is such person. Thank you. Give me more of that. We are honest. It's like he's inviting me to embody that myself. That's the nature of grace. I'm receiving that grace now. I have to extend that to others.
Starting with ourselves.
Yeah. Just in case you needed that footnote. Yes, we say always, love has to be such that it has to be loving in every direction. So I cannot just dedicate and be loving and merciful to others in a way that I hate myself. That's nonsense. Love has to remain coherent in its expression, right? But yes, that's part of the invitation, how to become free from this labeling, dualism, branding people or ourselves, as we talked about, in certain ways which are not very generous. And it's a lifetime's work. We are in it. That's part of our sadhana, following the footsteps of Nityananda. And one point in which Nityananda is connected also is with the figure of Guru. No? Nityananda Prabhu is described as the original Guru, or the source of Guru Tattva. Sometimes called as Akhanda Guru Tattva. Akhanda means indivisible. Like Guru Tattva is, in one sense, is one. It expresses through different teachers and mentors, but it's one single truth embodied by God himself, in this case in the form of Nityananda, the original Guru or teacher. So whatever we see in Nityananda ideally has to be reflected in whomever is representing the Guru agency. Unconditional acceptance, love, non-judgmentalism, not labeling, branding people, but giving grace. not deserving, but being attentive to serve the necessity of the moment, as we talked these other days. That's another way of talking about that. And Guru, as Srila Siddha Maharaj will say, is our own potentials appearing in front of us, showing all that we can be and assisting us to achieve that, to actualize that potential. And for that, the Guru sees us in terms of our potential, right? Not only the Guru is our potential appearing in front of us, but the Guru is seeing us according to our potential. I guess the Guru is not judging us according to what we did till yesterday. The Guru is not judging us even according to who we are today, thank God, but to all that we can be in our brightest prospect in the future. As I said, no, but they are not there yet. Look the mess they still are. You should treat them accordingly. That's not how the Guru department acts. And if someone in the name of the Guru department acts in the other way, they are not aligned with the Guru department. That's what we have to say. Like, because being Guru or representing Guru is not just having some, like, again, labeling, oh, now I'm Guru. Whatever comes from me now is absolute or whatever. But it's being aligned with a certain current that is the current of Nityananda Prabhu. So the more we are aligned coherently with that current, the more we are representing Guru Tattva properly. Whether they are initiating people or not, Guru is not just giving initiation to people. It's just being aligned with the current of grace and representing that accordingly. Each one of you are invited to do that. That means to be Guru. It's not just, I have so many disciples or blah, blah, blah. That can happen or may not happen. Mahaprabhu didn't initiate one single person. Will we call him, oh, he's not Guru? Rupa Goswami initiated one devotee. Oh, that he's not such a fancy Guru. Jiva Goswami initiated 0 people. Oh, he's not Guru then. Again, we have to get rid of all these superficial ideas of formality. Guru is aligning with the descending current of Nityananda's unconditional love and acceptance. And a genuine Guru is not only extending grace, but a genuine Guru is addicted to grace also, to receiving. He feels in need of grace. The Guru is not only a facilitator of potential for the disciple, the Guru is not only a servant of the disciple's faith. Yes, all of that, please. But also a Guru is in his or her humility feeling in need of grace. Because if you are honest and sincere, you will always feel in need of grace. You will never say, I had enough grace. No, I don't need grace anymore. By grace, I don't need grace anymore. That doesn't work. Again, eternally indebted. There's one beautiful letter that Srila Prabhupada sent to a disciple expressing this principle. Short, I mean, letter is longer, but there's this sentence. I will share it in my next book. He says, he writes this to his disciple, fasten your seatbelt, don't fall from the roof. He said, you cannot survive without my mercy, and I cannot survive without your mercy. His Guru talking to his disciple. You cannot survive without my mercy. Maybe we are accustomed to that part, okay? But now the Guru is saying, and I cannot survive without your mercy. It is reciprocal. Prabhupada said. This is a mutual dependence, which is based on love. That's what we call Krishna consciousness. Bas. You can take all your other definitions, toxic definitions of Krishna consciousness. We have space here on the rooftop. You can throw them, please.
We need some purport, please.
Some purport. This whole class is a purport to this. Again, a guru, genuine guru, doesn't feel himself or herself a guru. It's always a student, a servant, someone who depends on grace. It's not like, oh no, you are my disciple. I don't have anything to learn from you. There's no grace that can come through you to me. That's not how it works. That's not guru. And it's reciprocal. Again, guru decides, it's not a one-way street. It's not guru giving everything, disciple receiving everything. It has to be a two-way street always. Both are learning from each other. Both are growing together. in their own respective positions and situations. It's a teamwork. Both are serving the same ideal, the same cause. We need a separate retreat for Guru Tattva. That will take 15 years approximately. So you better organize yourself and become millionaires so you have time for. But that's what he says, a mutual dependence based on love. Not codependence, just a healthy mutual dependence. Guru depends on the disciple, Prabhupada is saying here. Disciple depends on the Guru. Or we will say both depend on love. Again, that's the currency. And that's what we call Krishna consciousness. He's making the point here. So if you need a healthy, inspiring, realistic human definition of Krishna consciousness, you can learn this by heart, not by memory, by heart. Any other definition, you can put this on the other side of the scale. So again, mercy goes in both directions, not only asking for mercy, but extending it to others. And again, mercy is unconditional. The moment you say extending mercy in a conditioned way, that's no mercy. You need to look some other word for that. So again, that's exact the example of Nityananda Prabhu with Jagai Madai. No, he's in Jagai Madai's future brightest potential because everything else is a mess in their case. So he's saying who they actually are. You are a unit of bright potential. Tatastha Shakti, a unit of bright potential. He's ignoring their present situation, their past situation. You just saying, you have such a potential to be a bright vessel of divine love. Come here. Faults, crimes, past stuff. Of course, I'm Nityananda Prabhu, and we have to apply this with criteria, of course. If there is someone doing a crime and abusing, and the person is not willing to change and transform and repent, we have to talk, each case is different, right? So just to make that footnote as well. So here we have Nityananda Prabhu giving this extreme example, saying disqualification as qualification. So that gives hope, because again, we may feel disqualified in many ways, in so many ways. And grace is what qualifies us. It's not that I have to earn my qualification independently from grace. The more we try that, the more disqualified we become. Because the more convinced we become, it's all about deserving and earning and personal merit. And Nityananda Prabhu is like, it's not that way. Why so exhausting? Like this poem by Rumi, I have to learn it by heart, sorry. But when he's saying, it's Rumi or Hafiz, one of both, they are receiving the soul. Please, dear soul, sit down, take rest. I will prepare a bed for you. I will bring you something to drink. You must be so tired, no? Living all your life. How does the poem conclude? I say that a few times in class. Now I'm not unconditional.
The idea is that you are so
Feeling
tired.
yourself separate.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. So you have been living your life separate, as if separate from God for so long. You must be so exhausted. So please relax, take rest. So that's the principle of mercy. It always starts with yes. As Srila Maharaj will say, Om means yes. Every mantra starts with Om, starts with yes, not with no. So grace sees the yes. But there are so many no's in that person, so much disqualification. Yes. First, yes. Potential, bright potential, beautiful potential. Start each situation with a primal, foundational, fundamental Om instead of a no. That's what Nityananda is about. That's the essence of every great person who makes a difference in the world. They start with a yes. They see something that can be improved. There's growth. There's potential. Every great person in the history of humanity, they start with a yes, and then no's can come then and put in context, but begin with yes. So anyhow, let's pray today for a drop of that unconditional love coming from that ocean that Nityananda Prabhu Kriparam is all about. And let's also make our heart a Kripa Patra. No? One more word in the whiteboard, why not? Conclude. So Kripa Patra, Kripa means mercy, as we say, and Patra means vessel. So our heart needs to be made, the Kripa, the mercy is intense, it's powerful. So the vessel has to be, through alchemical process we were talking last night, make the heart a powerful vessel to contain that grace. And sometimes there are holes in the vessel, and we need to fix those holes, because sometimes grace comes and we put the vessel, but if there are holes, the grace that comes may like slip overs, and we continue to ask for grace. But part of what to do with the grace that already is coming is learn to become better hosts of the mercy that is already coming. So let's not merely pray for mercy, like becoming addicted to pray for more mercy, but let's do something with the mercy that's already coming. And do something again. And when we realize how much grace is already there and it's already knocking on our door, then the question that comes is how to return the grace, how to extend that to others, how to reciprocate with the love that already came. So we'll put an ending, a rest to the sharing, but we'll do one exercise before we continue. Okay? And we will enter into conversation with Nityananda Prabhu for a few moments. Casey's falling asleep. No, it's okay. It's time for a good, how do you say? Yawning. It's the morning time of yawning. It happens to me. It's not happening because I'm talking, but when I stop talking, it counts. So it will be individual exercise, not in triads. Hopefully you brought your notebook. As I try to remind each of you, if you don't have notebook, raise your hand, get a paper from someone else, and a pen. So this is the exercise. Before writing, no, we can close our eyes for a moment. So let's try to close our eyes and try to imagine, visualize Nityananda Prabhu standing in front of us. This figure of unconditional love, the condensed personification of grace. Nityananda Prabhu standing before us, warm, smiling, crying tears of compassion, absolutely without judgment. The sweet absolute in these sweetest forms. Nityananda Prabhu is seeing your potential more clearly than we do. So he's seeing that potential. He's crying at that beautiful potential. He's Ajata Satru, he who has no enemies, never labeling, never rejecting. He's loving you without conditions, and he's loving you without limits. We are loved infinitely by Nityananda. So let Nityananda's gaze rest on us for a moment. Not evaluating glance, not a demanding glance, just a loving glance. So allow ourselves to be seen in that way, to be held in that way for a moment. So we gradually can open our eyes. You can take your pen, take your notebook, and you can write freely for a few minutes, beginning with this sentence, and then allow whatever needs to come. The sentence begins saying, Nityananda Prabhu, if I truly let myself feel your unconditional love, Nityananda Prabhu, if I truly let myself feel your unconditional love, here is what I want to tell you. Or this is what I want to tell you. Nityananda Prabhu, if I truly let myself feel your unconditional love, here or this is what I want to tell you. And you just write whatever comes for a few minutes.
This is what I want to tell you, or
if you allow yourself to feel his love for you, this is what I want to tell you. Yes, you are talking to him. Nityananda Prabhu ki jai.